If you've already found yourself thinking, why is this still so hard? Or why can't I just stick with it this time? I want you to stay with me today because this episode is not about pushing harder. It's about changing how change actually happens. Welcome to Mindset Medicine with Dr. Tanya Burfield, where science meets soul, burnout meets boundaries, and high achieving women finally stop performing and start healing. I am a resilience and transformation expert, nervous system strategist, and recovering overfunctioner just like you. This podcast is your sanctuary for breaking cycles, rewriting stories, and reclaiming your energy, your peace, and your power. Each week, we blend neuroscience, somatic practices, and spiritual truth to help you unlearn the noise and remember who you really are. You're not broken. You're breaking free. And this is your medicine. Hey, friend, before we go anywhere today, I want us to slow down just a little, and I want to do it together. Because if you are anything like the women that I work with, or honestly anything like me, you are very good at pushing forward before your mind and your body have actually caught up, before you've really integrated the work that you've already done. And this matters right now because for a lot of women, this is the point in the year where the pressure starts to creep in, or the quiet disappointment maybe starts to creep in. So the part where resolutions begin to feel heavy instead of hopeful. This month, we are not chasing change. We are not doing it. We are preparing for it. We are talking about why the self-criticism tied to resolutions just doesn't work, and how taking a different approach actually creates a lot more success instead of less. If you caught it, the first episode in January, we started with rest. So Yoga Nidra to help the body soften and the mind quiet enough to receive something new. Then in the second episode of January, we moved into acknowledgement and surrender, telling the real truth about how things actually feel, and letting go of this constant need to control the outcome. And so now here we are, ready to create some shifts, because rewiring is the third phase of the mindset method, is where change is actually possible. Rewiring is not about connecting electrodes to your brain or zapping your synapses. And it definitely does not come from effort alone. It comes from capacity. So when the body is tense, the mind races. When the mind is critical, the body braces. So before we can talk about how to rewire, we need to understand why this step comes now. Rewiring only works when your system, your mind, your body, your emotions feel safe enough to try something different. Not perfect. They are never perfect. They're just different. From a neuroscience perspective, our brains are wired to repeat what's familiar, not what's healthy, what's familiar, until we show them something new, gently and consistently. Rewiring is not about becoming more disciplined. It's not about fixing your thoughts or forcing positivity. It is about interrupting automatic patterns and giving yourself a choice. From a mindset perspective, it's moving away from the I should be better and toward the I'm allowed to choose differently. Sometimes it's even simpler, just questioning what actually makes you feel supported, what makes you feel healthy, and what makes you feel whole. From a body perspective, it's learning that change does not equal danger. And this is where so many New Year's resolutions will fall apart. Here's the distinction that I really want you to feel. Resolutions are often built on self-rejection. There's an underlying message of, I'm not enough the way that I am. Intentions, however, are built on self-trust. They sound like, I am paying attention. I want to relate to myself differently. I'm open to change without punishment. Rewiring, real rewiring, is teaching your mind and body that growth does not require shame. Did you hear me? Growth does not require shame. That's why intentions work where willpower burns out. And then I want to pause for just a moment because if this conversation resonates, if you're realizing how much of your life has been run on autopilot, this is exactly the work that I walk you through in the Radical Resilience book bundle. It's not just a book, it's a guide for rewiring how you think, how you respond, and how you relate to yourself through mindset work and body practices and reflection that you can actually integrate. So you can find that bundle over on my website, www.drtanyab.com, and it's there whenever you are ready to go deeper. Okay, let's get going. So let's talk about autopilot. So many of us are living here quietly, habitually, probably without even realizing it. We're doing what's expected. We are meeting needs. We're checking boxes. We are getting through the day on muscle memory. That's very little reflection. There is very little pause. There's almost no room to ask, is this actually working for me? Am I happy with this? Autopilot often looks like competence. It looks like productivity. It looks like being the one who holds it all together. Does that sound familiar? But inside, it can feel flat and numb and exhausting, like you're moving through your life without really being in it. And I want to be clear about this. Autopilot is not a failure. It's not a personal flaw. It's not a mindset problem that you need to fix. It's a survival strategy. It's what the mind and the body do when life has required you to adapt, to perform, or push through for a long time. But that survival mode has a cost. When you live on autopilot for too long, you don't just lose energy, you lose connection to your body signals, connection to what you actually need, connection to what you want, feel, and desire. Life becomes something you manage instead of something you experience. And because survival mode is designed to keep you functioning, not flourishing, it doesn't ask whether something is sustainable. It only asks whether you can get through today. Survival works in the short term, but it was never meant to be a way of life. And here's where I want us to slow down because this is important. The answer is not to blow up your life. It's not to overhaul your routine or add another thing to your plate even. Rewiring doesn't ask you to do more. It asks you to notice more. It begins not with big decisions, but with small interruptions. Tiny moments where you step out of habit long enough to choose purpose. You're choosing on purpose. That's where real life change starts. Rewiring happens in micro moments, those tiny pauses when you choose awareness over reaction. So moments like maybe not stepping up and immediately fixing somebody's problem, letting silent just sit for a couple of minutes, choosing rest instead of proving, speaking to yourself with respect. Oh my goodness, that's such a big one. Speaking to yourself with respect. Each one is a signal to your system. It says, I'm safe to slow down. I'm allowed to choose. This is how the mind and the body will learn together. So let's talk about you for a moment, because mindset is not just thoughts, it's tone, it's pressure, it's expectation. If your inner voice is harsh, your body will stay guarded. If your inner voice softens, your body will follow. Rewiring your mindset does not mean hyping yourself up. It often means becoming less hostile towards yourself. And this is where talking about it isn't quite enough. You can understand all of this intellectually and still feel your body stay tight or braced. That's because mindset shifts don't fully land through thinking alone. They land when the body experiences something different. So before we move on, I want you to give yourself a moment just to practice this, not as an idea, but as an experience. We're going to slow down for just a second. We're going to take a breath. So take a long, slow inhale and a long, gentle exhale. Do that again. And as you continue to do that for just a few minutes, I want you to notice what your body is communicating, not what it needs to do, but what it's experiencing, what it's feeling. Ask yourself, what would support me right now? Right now. And listen, really listen. Don't judge what comes up. Don't rush to explain it away. Just notice. Take another deep breath. Now, here's the part that we often skip. Instead of asking, how do I fix this? Ask, what is one small way I can respond differently? Not perfectly, not even forever, just for this moment. That pause, that moment of listening and responding with respect is rewiring in real time. And if your mind wandered, that's okay. Noticing that is just part of the practice. Okay, so transformation does not come from big dramatic shifts. It comes from small, consistent movements or moments of choice. Each one of these teaches your mind and your body that change does not require force or punishment or self abandonment. This is how transformation begins quietly, steadily, sustainably. So this week, instead of setting a resolution, try this. Set an intention for how you will treat yourself when things get hard. Not how productive you will be, not how consistent you'll stay, but how kind and honest you'll be with yourself in this moment. That might just look like noticing a familiar negative thought and offering yourself a more supportive one. You don't need to force positivity. You're creating your space. And remember, if you want support with this work through the Radical Resilience book bundle or by bringing this conversation into your workplace or your organization, I want you to know that I'm available. I speak on burnout, resilience, mindset, and mind-body leadership for teams and organizations ready for change that actually sticks. You do not need to push harder. You need a different approach, and you're already on your way. Until next time, I love you.